Hello dear friends. This message from Cobra has surprised me because it clears a lot of things. Opinion piece. USA leads the change. Positive timeline. Galactic decision. Trump is a grey hat. China was discarded. Hidden history of this. Positive timeline for change. BRICS are infiltrated by Jesuits. Trump and Musk are contactees. Supported by the forces of light. Jesuits made a pact with Draconians. Catholic cult may have reptilian origins. Pluto returns to Aquarius today, Tuesday. Get ready for the Golden Age, Trump said. Cathars and Templars had Galactic support. They supported Renaissance and Protestantism. Hidden history of the Catholic religion in Italy. There are many positive Templar occult groups. Saint Germain began to activate positive occult groups. The Silver Fleet of Agartha will be reactivated in January 2025. There is a network of more than 100 underground cities. Let's start. The coalition has decided that the USA will lead the global financial reset during Donald Trump's term instead of China or the BRICS, as was initially believed. China appears to be more advanced in quantum finance, but made some strategic mistakes, according to the latest report from the Cobra contactee on the current planetary situation, which also delves into the hidden history of Christianity. It appears that Trump and Musk have been contacted by Andromedans and Aldebarans. Trump is a grey hat, but at this time he and his future administration are the most suitable to work with the light forces than any of the other world leaders and their administrations, according to Cobra. Since China made some huge strategic mistakes during 2024, the light forces have decided to support the US to be the country that creates the breakthrough. Prepare for the Golden Age, Trump said. The light forces have put their power behind the Trump presidency, and many positive occult Templars groups who meditated for a fair election with Trump actually being elected and created a positive timeline for change. The Andromeda and Aldebaran infiltration is also taking place in the US, and they have communicated that they can contact Trump or Musk directly. Kerry Cassidy. Cobra believes that Kerry Cassidy is receiving important information behind the scenes, but that she is not interpreting it correctly. Cassidy said that the Illuminati changed sides 6 months ago and had decided to back the US because they realized that China would decimate them, following the principle that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. A source told her that the Chinese were being backed by an alien group that wants them to rule the world. The Chinese in the past have always been backed by the Draco, the Greys and the reptilians. However, how this new group backing China is at odds with them. Her source didn't tell her who the new kids on the block are. Not all Chinese are backing this plan. Pluto returns to Aquarius. 2 days before Pluto entered Aquarius, because it returns today, Tuesday, the dark forces made their last attempt to escalate the situation when Biden authorized Ukraine to use American long-range missiles to hit targets inside Russia. 3 days later, on November 22nd, the 1111 gate will be completed, which will activate a lot of energy. This portal will have its turning point on December 25th with the Saturn-Alcyon conjunction and will close on January 21st with Earth conjunct Mars, both opposite Pluto. Solara, the visionary of the 1111, had an accident a few days ago. Pluto has finally finished its period in Capricorn. Since 2008, Pluto has been touring through the sign of the goat, but it is now officially established in Aquarius. This is a big graduation point for all of us. Pluto works on themes related to death and rebirth. Since 2008, we have all been rising in some way. On November 21st, the Sun enters Sagittarius. Scorpio season comes to an end and we move into fiery Sagittarius season. The energy is uplifted and changing, helping us feel more social and adventurous. Sagittarius is represented by the Arcus arrow. The Sun in Sagittarius encourages us to aim towards our goal. What do we wish to manifest? The year may be coming to an end, but there is no better time to act than the present. On November 26th, Mercury turns retrograde in Sagittarius and will remain so until December 15th. It is a very intuitive time when we are guided to listen to our inner world. Mercury retrograde can sometimes create confusion or delay. It is also not considered a favorable time to buy electronics or watches. Infiltration. Cobra reveals that the positive Aldebarans and Andromedans have also begun the second phase of their infiltration on Safi society. They use cloned humanoid bodies to replace certain people in key positions in secret networks of alphabetical agencies in most regimes around the planet, especially the most totalitarian ones. This counteracts the Jesuit invasion of the BRICS, where many of those regimes are located. Cobra also reveals that the Cathars and Templar movements of the 12th and 14th centuries were attempts by the forces of light to bring clarity to the planet again, while the Inquisition was an institution created by the dark forces to suppress that light, and especially to suppress the energy of the goddess. When the forces of light tried again to bring more light with the Renaissance and with the Protestant movement, when not then? As a reaction to this, the Farnese family created Jesuits who began to explore the underworld and made contact with an army of underground Draconians in the 1660s and signed a pact which was only known to a very few high-ranking Jesuits. When Martin Luther unleashed his spiritual and social revolution in Europe, which we know today as the Protestant Reformation, he sent an arrow into the heart of the Vatican's power base. As the Reformation and Enlightenment spread, the Dark Ages ended, but they didn't. The Vatican, in its quest for power over all human life, soon spawned a defender. They called himself Ignatius of Loyola, which in my opinion is hardly saintly. Hidden history. Sadly, religion and its institutions have mind-controlled human beings into not believing that they are under attack and are prey to other species in the cosmos. In the 2nd century, when the Orsini family was expanding their holdings north of Rome, they came across a network of underground tunnels beneath the Etruscan settlements of Pitigliano and Orvieto. In those tunnels, they encountered native reptilians, and a military alliance was forged with them, which later supported the rise of the Catholic cult, as tunnels were built to connect Pitigliano and the Vatican Hill. The Orsini family has had a very strong presence in the area north of Rome for over 2,000 years, and Pitigliano was their main entry point into the underground reptilian empire since the 40th century. The Theodosian dynasty, now the Theodoli family, made another military alliance with the negative Andromedans in the late 4th century, which crushed Roman civilization. The Aldobrandini family made an alliance with the Aldebarans in the 16th century, and there are facts about that alliance that will surprise many people when they are finally revealed. Slaves. The clue is there. In the late 17th and early 18th centuries, a small group of Jesuits broke away from the Safi civilization and began a group breakout. With Draconian help, they already had small colonies throughout the solar system by the end of the 18th century. In the late 19th century, the Draconian and negative Andromedan overlords allowed them to maintain small slave colonies called Jesuit reductions in some less important solar systems under Draco rule in our galaxy and in the Andromeda galaxy. Right now, the positive Andromedans and Aldebarans are beginning to clear all remnants of the Jesuit reductions from the solar system, and this will greatly reduce the power of the Jesuits on the Earth's surface. These Jesuits were never a major force in intergalactic wars, and tended to return to our solar system during the 20th century, as the Draco lost more and more territory throughout the galaxy. After the Archon invasion in 1996, renegade Illuminoid factions occupied some important positions in the dark infrastructure of the solar system. They were controlling the dark astrology matrix, and they were investing heavily in artificial intelligence and nanotechnology. Now, there is still some of that Jesuits' presence throughout the solar system, and they still control a large number of nanobots, some of them interplanetary, and most of the nanobots on the surface of this planet. These nanobots create a network that can communicate via radio waves. This interplanetary Jesuit network, along with their non-physical reptilian allies and the Draconians, are giving occult power to the Jesuits, who control the dark networks on the surface through hazing ritual initiations that take place at Jesuit universities. Many people who studied at Jesuit universities and went through those rituals are now obedient servants of the Jesuits and their agenda. Transformation. Saint Germain began to activate positive occult groups in the Agartha network and on the surface. On the surface, groups are being activated that already have some connection with Saint Germain and the Cagliostro, especially some Templars, Rosicrucians, Egyptian Freemasons, and Theosophical groups. These groups are preparing for the great activations in 2025 and for the arrival of the Golden Age. There is also a great reorganization and activation of the entire Agartha network taking place. They are being aligned with the Galactic Confederation, and the resistance movement is becoming a special force within Agartha. The Agartha Silver Fleet will also be reactivated after the Jesuit defeat in the solar system. The Agartha Silver Fleet is a flotilla of Agartha spaceships that was instrumental in awakening the surface population to the positive New Age movement in the period from 1975 to 1995. That fleet went into hiding during the Archon invasion in 1996 and is expected to be fully reactivated again in January 2025. Today, the name Agartha is often used to designate an ancient splinter civilization living underground. There is a network of over 100 underground cities, including a city under Mount Shasta in California, that are connected to each other. Most of these cities are located beneath the Earth's energy centers. There is also an underground community under Mount Shasta called Telos, which means communication with the spirit. The capital of Agartha is called Shambhala the Lesser, to differentiate it from the city of the Ascended Masters. The inhabitants of Agartha are said to be a benevolent human species, and to have technological capabilities that far surpass ours. That is why they have a space fleet called the Silver Fleet. The Agartha network should not be confused with another underground network of dark bases that is supposedly inhabited by reptilians, race members of the Draconian Empire, and people from the secret government with whom the inhabitants of Agartha are said to have been in conflict for a long time. They even lost some of their cities to them. Some of the main cities in the Agartha network besides Shambhala and Telos are Posit and the plains of Mato Grosso in Brazil. It was there that the famous Colonel Percy Harrison Fawcett disappeared in May 1925. He ventured in that month, he ventured into the Amazon rainforest of Mato Grosso in search of a mysterious lost city that he called Sira. Fawcett and his companions disappeared without a trace in the upper Xingu region. Sonxi, refuge of the Uyghur culture, a branch of the Lemurians who decided to form their own colonies 50,000 years ago. The entrance is guarded by a Lama monastery. Rama, remains of the city of Rama in India, located near Jaipur. Its inhabitants are known for their classic Hindu features. Xinhua, remnant of the northern migration of the Uyghurs, located on the border between Mongolia and China, with a small secondary city on Mount Lassen, California. Curious. Oklahoma buys more than 500 Bibles for its schools. SpaceX plans hundreds of Starship launches during Donald Trump's presidency. UFOs near nuclear sites. Pentagon says it's just drones. Luis Elizondo testifies that we have communicated with non-human life forms related to UFOs. Hundreds of new UFO sightings are reported to the Pentagon. The new findings bring the total number of cases to more than 1,600 in June. Ancient Egyptians drank hallucinogenic cocktails in their rituals, according to an analysis of the remains. 2,000-year-old Roman road discovered in London. Scientists discover a third state between life and death in a new study. The new concrete that will change construction is flexible, can emit heat in winter, and repairs itself. Engineers at Michigan State University have developed a new concrete mix with surprising properties. If humanity were to disappear, octopuses could take over the world, says Professor Tim Coulson of Oxford University, UK. These cephalopods are the most intelligent and adaptable animals on Earth, and have everything they need to evolve and create the first non-human civilization, says the professor. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.